The time is now 9 a.m. We will call to order the meeting for the City of Statesboro Mayor and Council. We will have our invocation and pledge of allegiance by Mayor Pro Tem Sherry Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Hear these words. The first reading is from Reverend Edwin Everett Hale, and the second by the Reverend Walter Royal Jones, Jr., both of whom are Unitarian Universalist ministers. I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, let me not refuse to do the something that I can do. In the second reading, mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community, ever exceeding our practice. Reverently, may we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love. May it be so. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move down to agenda item 3, which is recognition of public presentations. We have a special recognition today for our fire department personnel for their life-saving actions during a house fire on June 2nd of this year. We want to call forward Chief Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. At 11:29 p.m. on the night of June 2nd, 2023, the Statesboro Fire Department was dispatched to 20 Lindbergh Street for a reported structure fire. Within 4 minutes of receiving the alarm, the first arriving Statesboro Fire Department units found a single-story house with moderate to heavy smoke coming from the structure. Firefighting crews initiated fire suppression operations as well as conducted a primary search for possible victims. Within minutes of arriving on scene, Statesboro firefighters were able to confine and extinguish the fire as well as locate and successfully remove Mr. John Oglesby from the building, who was treated and transported to the hospital by Bullock County EMS. Today we would like to recognize those individuals involved with the rescue of Mr. Oglesby. But before we do, I would like to take just a moment to express our gratitude to the Good Samaritan who promptly called 911 to report this fire. Without their responsible and deliberate action, the outcome of this incident could have been vastly different. The Statesboro Fire Department unit citation is awarded to any group of 2 or more fire department members who make up a company, shift, sector, team, or work group that has performed in an outstanding manner worthy of recognition. The unit citation is recommended by a superior officer within the fire department and is approved by the fire chief after formal review of the actions for which the accommodation is being recommended. The following individuals are being awarded the Statesboro Fire Department unit citation for outstanding performance during the course of carrying out their duties, which resulted in the successful rescue of Mr. John Oglesby from a building fire on June 2nd, 2023. First, we have Captain Raiden Hutchinson. Turn around. There you go.
Let's go over this side. Okay.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
Lieutenant Spencer Rudd.
Congratulations.
Let me get to it. Sorry.
Here, 1, 2, 3. I got Charles stay long, okay? 1, 2, 3.
Lieutenant Jason Bowers. FAO Spencer Johnson.
Congratulations.
FAO Ben Adams. FAO Casey Perkins. FAO Ryan Merrow. Got one more.
One, two, three.
I think FAO Justin Eaton.
Good one.
Firefighter Valiant Lights.
Yeah.
One, two,
All right.
one, two, three.
You gave me the best quote, Mayor.
Yeah.
Dwayne, he said he didn't want to be interviewed after all that. Firefighter Bradley Scott.
One, two, three.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Firefighter Hunter Winford.
One, two, three.
It could be 1, 2, 3.
Finally, Firefighter Bradley Sapp.
One, two, three.
It could be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, he's still right here. In addition to this group being recognized for their outstanding performance, there are 3 individuals whose actions directly impacted the outcome of this incident. The Statesboro Medal of Valor is awarded to a member who, under extreme condition in which life safety is at great risk, performs in an outstanding manner worthy of special recognition. The Medal of Valor is one of the most prestigious honors awarded to Statesboro Fire Department members and is presented only to those deserving. For their outstanding actions as well as their display of courage and selflessness on the night of June 2nd, 2023, the following individuals are being awarded the Statesboro Fire Department Medal of Valor. FAO Spencer Johnson.
Take me to a building that will just. 1, 2, 3.
It could be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Not as good as Wayne, have to take 2.
FAO Ryan Merrow.
One, two, three.
It could be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Firefighter Valiant Lights.
Now you can took them to the
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Could be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The manner in which all 12 of these men perform their duties that night embodies the professionalism, dedication, and character that the Statesboro Fire Department expects in all of its members. As the fire chief, I take great pride in our fire department, its members, and the exceptional service they provide to our community. The individuals recognized here this morning serves as a testament to the unwavering commitment and courage that the citizens of the Statesboro and Bullock County community can rely on in their times of greatest need. I am pleased to report that Mr. Oglesby has been released from the hospital and is now residing in the Atlanta area near family. This outcome serves as a powerful reminder of the impact our first responders have on the lives they touch, and it further reinforces the importance of the exceptional work carried out by the men and women of the Statesboro Fire Department. Thank you. Okay. You get all 12 of those guys, or 11.
Put them up. Line them up.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you. All right, line up. I'm the center. Come on. Tall guys in the back, short guys in the front. Let's go. Come on, you guys gotta do this. Just like 8th grade. Step back in the hole. There you go. Yeah, that's right. You back here, you back here, and back here, and we back. See, it's on us. Always one tall guy. Take up the step back. Back up.
Come on, Miss English. Squeeze in.
I let them get together and I just slide in. There we go.
We are gonna have the chief in there.
Yeah.
Where chief at? And we're gonna have these 2 deputy chiefs. Yeah. Come on, Chief Bobby and Jason.
You can't see the
Everybody's dressed up and looking so good.
You doing good? You're administrator.
I need to get this.
They'll understand.
Let's find out that.
When they take you out back into the job. Everybody looking at the camera.
Which one?
Look at Wayne.
Smile first. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move.
Take one more. 1, 2, 3.
Don't move.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more for good luck. 1, 2.
Don't move. We're gonna get all this in. Okay, before you move, if everybody else, those 3 that got the special, if they would stay with council and the commanding officer. Excuse everybody else. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Where's the award? Where's the award? I think,
Did you want the award?
yeah, the medal. Just the medal. Yeah, which John was it? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, that's good looking.
It is. And John is on the high.
John?
Yeah, I mean.
Oh my
Yeah.
Steve, the
I'm sorry, I have those senior moments.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Can we get y'all to smile?
Take one more. 1, 2, 3.
And Dale. Stay in place.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3.
Hold on. Got lots of cameras. Good flash. There you go. Hold on. There you go. All right. Congratulations.
We're going to go back into our meeting, but I do want to take a point of privilege in this moment, just to say thank you again for the hard work that our fire department has done and the courage that they have displayed. In states where we're extremely fortunate to have a hard-working team like this. So let's give them another round of applause. May God bless y'all, keep y'all in all that you do. Thank you. I want to move down to agenda item 4, public comments. Liz, do we have any for the first section?
No, Mayor.
Okay, all right. We'll move down to agenda item 5, which is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes the approval of the minutes for our July 18th council minutes and executive session, as well as consideration of a motion to approve surplus and disposition of a case tractor and a Massey Ferguson tractor in the public utilities department. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, there needs to be a correction made to the minutes on 7/18/2023, item number 12. It shows an approval of a resolution 2-1. However, in the voting section of our charter, 4-1, enactment of ordinances, vote required authority of mayor, the language specifically says, voting on the adoption of ordinances shall be by voice vote, except as otherwise provided in the charter, a affirmative vote of 3 council members shall be required for the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion. In the event of vacancies in office, resulting in less than a quorum, then the remaining council members in that office shall constitute a quorum and shall be authorized to transact the business of the council. Now, mind you, this is the exact same section of the charter that authorizes the mayor to vote in the event of a tie. As a result, a 2-1 vote of an ordinance is a failed motion, not an approved motion, because we need 3 votes affirmative. So the minutes need to be amended to show that that motion did not pass.
Okay, per the councilman's input, can we get a point of information from our city attorney in regards to the councilman's reports?
Yes. Just a moment. Now, Ken, I know you're going to show me there are another sections of the charter, but this is specifically the section relating to voting, and specifically the section relating to the power of the mayor to vote in the event of a tie. So unless we're going to give up, unless the mayor is planning to give up that power, then these powers operate, or these rules operate in conjunction with each other.
So, reading from, it says that 3 council members shall constitute a quorum and shall be authorized to transact the business of the council. Voting on the adoption of ordinance shall be taken by voice vote, shall be recorded. And it says that the.
What section are you reading from, please?
4-1.
Thank you.
Let me try that again, Phil. I got the screenshot of it. 4-1.
It's 4-1, section 8.
I know, I'm referring to another one here, because it does say, let's see, so 4-1, yeah, 4-1B.
4-1B refers to the tie. The 4-1C refers to taking the ordinances to the mayor. And 4-1D refers into posting ordinances. 4-1A handles voting.
Can I get back to you give me 5 minutes, if I may? I'm just trying to find where this language is with the 3 council members. You just caught me off guard here. Give me 5 minutes.
Okay.
Come back to it.
Do we need to?
Are you talking about section 2?
I don't know.
There's another section, section 2, but again, this section specifically
Right,
is a voting section, not a general business section. And yes, 3 members of council can constitute a quorum and conduct business. However, you gotta vote 3-0 to pass things. That's how it works.
Except as otherwise done it says except as otherwise provided.
Oh, that would be things like when we have to vote unanimously. It's very clear,
I know it said the otherwise provided part.
but this is the voting section, King.
Right. I know, but let me just find that one part where it says.
It's section 2.
I've got that section. I sent to Sherry when she asked about it,
Yes, it's section 2 under the general powers, not under the
but
voting.
I'm looking at that. Can't find that one section. I'm looking for it. 3 council members. Let me find it.
While you're looking, 12, what was it in reference to?
That was an increase in council's compensation.
Mr. Mayor, might I suggest we move on to the next agenda item and defer this one and come back when our attorney is ready?
Karen, how much more time do you need?
Just one sec. So, what I'm referring to is section 2.5. 25B. So, the sections you referenced does say that it is otherwise provided. However, I rely on 25A, which involves meetings, minutes, and proceedings of council. 25B states clearly, 3 council members shall constitute a quorum and shall be authorized to transact the business of the council. Voting on the adoption of ordinance shall be taken by a voice vote and shall be recorded in the official minutes that any member of the council shall have the right to request a roll call vote. The affirmative vote of a majority of the members present shall be required for the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion except as otherwise provided in this charter.
Which is section 4.1A.
Which also has the except as otherwise provided in the charter. So there's not a definitive answer there because they both say or is otherwise done provided by the charter.
Have we exercised 4.1B before? So there's a precedence in us using 4.1 as our guideline.
I don't recall that.
Anytime the mayor's voted to break a tie or anytime the tie has been broken, 4.1.B has been followed.
That's with a mayor tie vote.
Correct.
Right.
So you're following 4.1 as a general rule. We can't just pick and choose which ones we follow.
Okay, well, I'm relying on I relied on 2.5B for allowing that to move forward. I don't know what else to say on it. It says that.
Well, I'm relying on 4.1A, so.
So at this point right now, we have a motion on the floor for, with an amendment to the minutes for the council meeting on the 18th. Is there a second to the proposed motion?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear a motion.
And I'll make the vote, we have to correct the minutes, so.
So correct the minutes
Yeah.
to reflect, what do you want it to reflect?
A failed vote. It's, didn't pass with 3 votes, which is what, again, section 4.1A, the voting section of our charter discusses.
All right, is there a second to that?
I'm sorry, I can't second the motion because I've hear and heard what Councilmember Boyer is saying, his questions about it, but I'm relying on our city attorney's interpretation at the moment and subsequently, that which prevails. I mean, it's a legal point, so I'm going to defer to the legal person.
Then give me your reasoning for picking one over the other when we followed 4.1 repeatedly over the course of our council history. And this was only passed in 2000, so this doesn't go back before 2000.
No.
And here's the thing, Kane is just an advisor.
Yes.
This is, the charter is what we go by, regardless of what Kane says, that we follow the charter. As a matter of fact, our attorney can give us bad advice against the charter. It doesn't change the charter.
And there is no bad advice here. We have a contradiction in terms here.
Sure.
We've got 4.1A, which states that you gotta have 3 votes. And then we got that 2.6 that says 3 constitutes a quorum and majority of the quorum can constitute. So there's a conflict between our charter provisions.
401 also states that 3 is a quorum. It also states that 3 has to.
3 is a quorum. There's no
Yes,
doubt
3 is a
on that.
quorum, yes. That's not, and 3 can conduct business. Or you also require 3 votes. And it also is a section that says the mayor can vote in section of the time.
Let me ask, as a point of information, does the 3 votes have to all be the same? Does the charter say all of the 3 votes have to be the same, or there has to just be 3 votes?
3 affirmative votes. Affirmative vote of 3 council members shall be required. It's in, right there.
But then again,
And that's clear language.
but then, Phil, it's also clear in 2.6 that 3 is a quorum and majority of members present can pass any resolution, ordinance, or motion.
But it's clear that this is
I
the
know.
voting section.
I know, I'm aware of that. There's a contradiction.
Okay.
So this is the identified voting section. Would you agree that this handles
That,
most of the
but
voting?
meetings and minutes,
4.1?
but
No,
2.6
4.1 handles voting.
and 2.6 handles meetings.
Correct.
Yes.
All right, so let's get a point of information from, our city manager.
Mayor, and members of the council, I understand Mr. Boyer's point of view, but for these purposes, the minutes are correct, that's the action that was taken. The point of order may be to bring the matter of concern back up, because this reflects the actual occurrence that occurred at that meeting. His is a point of clarification that needs to be brought up under another item for council to consider.
Point of clarification, Mr. Penn. A
I'm
2-1
sorry,
vote
I'm
is
sorry,
a
Phil,
failed
can you
vote.
let him finish so we can get
A
clarification?
2-1 vote is not approved. It's a failed vote.
Phil, can you please?
So the minutes are incorrect.
Yeah.
Mr. Penny, can you please finish so that we can get clarification? Like, we understand that you have a point that you want to make, but it's
When you say that,
unfair,
it's
it's unfair to
correct.
us if you keep cutting everybody off every time.
Hey, Mr. Penny has the floor.
Again, the point that I'm making is these minutes reflect the happenings that occurred at the meeting. That is what
That's
happened,
all.
and this is the record of that meeting. The concern that the council member is bringing up is about the action itself. That, to me, would appear, and that's why I'm leaning to Kane, that a point of order would be to bring that matter up under as another item for council to discuss and to consider if that action was appropriate. But the minutes are correct as to what occurred during that meeting.
That's correct.
Mr. Manager, if I may, the reason we approve the minutes is to make sure that the minutes are correct. Now, if there is incorrect information in the minutes and we approve it, then we are justifying what happened in the meeting. What I'm suggesting is that the 2-1 is not an approval. It is a fail. It says approval in the minutes. If I were to vote for those minutes, that would be me admitting that that was a past ordinance. It is not. It failed. It should reflect it in the minutes. That is my point of bringing it up at this time. So the minutes are not gospel. They're a recording of what happened, and we can comment on the correctness of that recording. That's what we're here to do. So this idea that the minutes are sacrosanct is not accurate.
I didn't say that it was sacrosanct. I just said it reflects what actually happened at the meeting.
Yes.
That is what happened at the meeting.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
might I suggest we ask our clerk if it would be okay to amend the minutes to say the motion passed on advice of council at the time, in parentheses, subsequently challenged?
What was challenged?
Subsequently challenged the passage of the motion, whether it was valid or not.
It wasn't challenged in the meeting, so that
No,
can't
but
be
it
reflected in
was.
the
It
minutes.
was. I turned to Kane and said, we can do this 2-1.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And he said yes. So on advice of council, the motion passed. And then in parentheses, to satisfy your point now that you're bringing up, subsequently challenged, and then we decide what to do moving forward. whether we have to do anything legally. But that would reflect your concern that it was subsequently challenged, but we could note in the minutes that on advice of council, it passed 2-1.
Well,
Is
did
that satisfactory,
council
sir?
consider for 1A?
Of course
before
we
the-
do.
Did council
No,
consider? I asked you him a question.
No,
She
you're asking
interrupted
her. You can't say,
me. She interrupted me. I was asking him a question. Did you consider for 1A before? What the hell? She interrupted
Let's maintain the quorum. With that being said, let us, we're going to have to lean on the actions as is, and the minutes reflect the action that took place at that time. There is a motion that's on the floor for as far as the amendment. Is there a second to that motion?
As it is?
What Councilman? All right, seeing that there is no second, is there another motion?
motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
All right.
I didn't hear your vote, Ms. Walker.
I vote to approve.
All right, let it show that agenda item 3 has passed on a 3-1 vote.
5.
Huh?
5.
5, I'm sorry. I'm still looking at the good stuff on the fire department. And so we'll move down to agenda item 6, public hearing consideration of motion to approve application for an alcohol license in accordance with the City of Statesboro Alcohol Ordinance, Section 6-13, Red Claw, 6581 Northside Drive, East 117, Statesboro, Georgia 30458, license type restaurant. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, is Kathy here? No, Justin.
Justin.
Where's Justin? Okay.
No issues there.
Okay, Chief Graham?
No issues.
All right, Chief Broadhead?
No issues there.
All right, Kane?
No issues there.
Okay, with that being said, is there anyone here to speak for the request? All right, anyone here to speak against the request? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
We want to open it up for, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we want to open it up for council discussion if there is any. Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we move down to agenda item 7, consideration of motion to approve resolution 2023-38, a resolution reclassifying 6 lieutenant fire positions to captain. Mr. Penny, if you will.
Mayor, members of the council, Chief Graham came to me with a request to basically reclassify the existing lieutenant positions and to reclassify those to captain. We had the HR department in consultation with our consultant to review that request. And so we recommend reclassifying the fire lieutenant positions to fire captain. And if you look at the background information, with the growth of our department, it provides a better span of control and operation for the department. It also brings us into the 21st century as we look at other fire departments. So basically, we will eliminate the fire lieutenant, and those 6 folks will become fire captains. And we do recommend approval of the reclassification of those fire lieutenants to fire captains.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move down to agenda item 8, consideration of a motion to approve resolution 2023-39, a resolution approving the application for funding for the U.S. Department of Transportation Rural and Tribal Assistance Pilot Program for the Brandon Street Corridor Plan Study. Mr. Penny.
Mayor, members of the council, simply we're asking authorization to apply for some grant funds. And what these grant funds will be utilized for is the Brandon corridor. We've been doing some work in that area, and that area is, first, it's a very populated area, but the YMCA is in that area. You have some shopping districts that are in that area, and these funds would would aid in our ability to make that neighborhood, I believe it would be an enhancement to that neighborhood. And so we're simply asking for your authorization to apply for those grant funds. The grant funds could range anywhere from $150,000 to $360,000. And we'll probably go for the max. We'll just ask for your authority to apply.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Penny. Let's open this up for council discussion. Any discussion by council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I commend staff on finding this opportunity, and I'm pleased to read that it's going to include trying to enhance pedestrian as well as bicycle safety, because like most towns, we were built, our roads were developed for the convenience of motorists, the people who were driving, not the people who were walking or riding their bikes. And so we have to come back and retrofit. We have to make that safer, because people in cars don't need to have right of way everywhere. We all need to be able to get around. So I'm happy to support this and commend Mr. Washington for finding the opportunity, and all our city staff for trying to help us make Statesboro a safer place for all of us.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing that there is none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. We're moving on to the next item, which is consideration of development agreement with Downtown Statesboro Development Authority to use $55,380 in TAD funds for installation of a signature borough marker within the development commonly known as the Art Park, located in the intersections of East Main and Railroad Streets within the South Main Tax Allocation District.
Mayor, back in May, I came to you asking for permission to place an order for the borough signs, and at that time, to go into the art park. And at that time, I told you that we were hopeful to be able to get a portion, if not all of the funds, to pay for the lettering through the TAD. And today what we have before you is an agreement with DSBA and the city and the TAD committee on the TAD agreement in order to be able to utilize the $55,380 of the TAD funds in the South Main Street TAD district in order to cover the full cost of the lettering to go in the art park. And I'll just simply say, if we did not receive these funds, we would be asking for appropriation from the general fund in order to be able to cover the cost of the lettering. We do recommend approval of this agreement for the use of these funds.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Let's open it up for council discussion. Any discussion by council? All right, seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move down to agenda item 10, consideration of a motion to award the contract to Solid Waste Applied Technology for the purchase of a new way automated residential side on refuse collection body with a Peterbilt 520 CNG cab and chassis per source for a contract in the amount of $449,000. This item will be purchased with solid waste collection revenue funds. Mr. Penny.
I really can't tell you a lot more there. We do recommend the purchase of this piece of equipment. It is in keeping with our fleet. It is CNG, and we replaced the one that was burned. I think this is in our regular cycle. But when we replaced the one that was burned, we actually replaced that one with one that I think was a diesel engine and not a CNG. This gets us back in the cycle of utilizing the CNG. We do recommend approval, and with the current situation, it may take 12 months or longer in order to be able to get this equipment. So that's why it could be a 2025 by the time we get it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Penny. Any discussion by council?
How long does it last, this piece of equipment? Because we're spending $500,000 on it. How long does that last? I'm hoping it's gonna last past 10 years for $500,000.
Well, we would say it's gonna last at least 10 years, and then what happens is they get moved back to reserve, and we continue to use them as long as we can, but at least 10 years. they're not getting any cheaper, I can promise you that.
That's a lot of money for a piece of equipment, but we gotta have it.
All right, any further discussion by council? Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, reluctant.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We move down to agenda item 11, consideration of a motion to award a contract to Yancey Cat in the amount of $158,969 for the purchase of a new Caterpillar 289D3 skid steer with attachments for the streets division in the Public Works and Engineering Department per source well contract. Funding is from 2018 T-Splines. Mr. Kinsley.
And Mayor, members of the council, so to Ms. Chambers' point, I can remember when you could get one of these things for $60,000, but it is a very important piece of equipment in our, these are those small skid steer loaders, and they help us be able to do a lot of work in the right of way, cleaning things, and so we do recommend the purchase.
Any discussion by council? Seeing that there's none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. We move down to agenda item 12, other business for city council. Councilwoman Moore.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out that our DSDA Main Street sponsored First Fridays resumed this Friday. Alan is in the room as usual. Appreciate that. This Friday, 5:30 till 7:30 will be the back to school pep rally celebration with lots of local school teams, athletic teams, and bands. And First Fridays are just a fun downtown street festival. It's free. When you bring money and buy things, but you can come and just listen to the band and all for free. So I encourage everyone to come out and support them. And I commend our staff and our DSDA partners who make these good things happen for the people of Statesboro.
Thank you, Sharon. Any further business from council? All right, seeing that there is none, we move down to city manager's comments.
Mayor, members of the council, first a good thing, and Ms. Bard prompted me when she talked about the First Friday. We'd like to, one, thank the council for your support for Downtown Live, and we want to thank our partners, DSDA, Statesboro Convention and Visitors Bureau. We had a number of private sponsors. Bullet Solution was a signature sponsor, and that is significant. That was over $15,000 in order to be that signature sponsor. And I'm going to put John Scott on blast. The first event, he was like, sign me up for next year. And so we received, and I want to thank Olympia for. She took this thing on, and she was there every night till it was over, even in the heat. And the other part of it is it got hot. We moved the last event to 7. People were still here. They enjoyed it, and so I think y'all have been hearing from folks that came to the Downtown Live series. I understand someone said we were going to do 19 of them next year. That's a lot. Our hope is to be able to expand it to at least 8, and to go from maybe start a little bit earlier in the year in May and take advantage of the cooler spring weather. But it was a success, and we appreciate. Again, Ms. Olympia's efforts and everybody that was involved in make a success, and Alan Moore, Drew, and Becky Davis, and the entire team. So,
They are streets people.
all the work folks.
Yeah.
Oh boy, they were real champions and heroes, and they're like, look, Penny, if you want to do 4 more, we do. And so, but I do want to thank y'all for your support there.
Let's give it all.
I do need to bring up one item, and it has to do with the elk lodge. And I came to y'all a couple of meetings ago and asked you for permission to be able to process an application. But since that time, going into that process, we are still not able to issue them or take that process forward. And I want to call on Kane and Ms. Leah to explain why there's a proximity issue. And because that the grandfathering lapsed, they now have to apply under as a new entity. And so I'm going to lean on our legal counsel to explain that. Ms. Leah can help.
So what y'all did previously is y'all passed a resolution allowing the application to move forward for processing due to the fact that it was that it's located in the R6 zoning district, which is not allowed for alcohol licenses. We have an additional issue at this point. Proximity maps have shown this within the forbidden distance, I believe 100 yards, of a church over there. So they have applied for bar with kitchen, and the way our code of ordinances is written is that under 650, y'all can give proximity waivers for restaurants, pubs, and for low volume establishments, but proximity waivers are not available for bars or bars with kitchen. The proximity, as it relates to buy the drink sales, is solely a local function. It can be changed however y'all feel. However, our local does have those proximity requirements for them. So in order for us to move forward with processing it and bring it forward to y'all, we would need to we need to do a resolution allowing them to move forward, and allow them a proximity waiver, despite the fact they're not typically eligible. That's where we are now.
They can also change their status of their business, correct?
Yeah, because a restaurant, pub, or low volume would be allowable for, and that's the same issue we're having downtown with you get these protected establishments, and you can't have a bar or bar with kitchen within 100 yards of them. Even if you have to do a resolution for it, but typically y'all would be allowed to just do a proximity waiver on that. But that's not available for a bar with kitchen application.
Well, because we don't want bars near established churches, correct? Isn't that why we do that? I think the problem we're having with the bars downtown is that we're having churches go into commercial retail establishments, and they're not really churches with a standalone facility. That has to be, we have to not, those should not be classified as churches per se, because again, they're taking up a space that a Dollar Tree would almost take.
And Councilman Boyd, to that point, it would still be on council if y'all did expand the proximity waivers to bars with bars with kitchens. It would still be, each time would have to be considered, are we trying to protect this church from this establishment? Is it appropriate to do so? And that would at least be an option if the ordinance was amended to allow that.
So I need to bring this back to you because you gave us some direction. But I do think, not trying to give you, if it's okay, I need to inform you of that. But maybe we need to flesh out the other options and come back to council with what those options are. Because I want to be careful not to have you set a precedent by, because you can't just do it for them and then can't do it for everybody else. And so we have to, we have to feed everybody out of the same spoon. So I want to come back to you at the next meeting with an option, and might even put something on the work session to talk through it before putting you in that position. But I need to come back to you and let you know we couldn't do what you asked us to do.
Can I ask a question? Why, and I don't mean to say this and be curt, but why are we doing all this legwork for a private business? Like, they should hire an attorney and figure out a way to get around our regulations. We shouldn't be trying to accommodate our regulations for a single entity. I think in some respects that's what you're getting at. We can't just write ordinances for everybody that comes and says this ordinance doesn't fit my business. And we change the ordinance, and we change the ordinance, and we change the ordinance. That's the single biggest problem Statesboro's had in business communities. We change our ordinances all the time. You don't provide consistency. So my point is, why are we, it's similar to, why doesn't your city attorney do this for my business? Well, it's the city attorney,
Right.
not your business's attorney. Shouldn't these folks be looking at ways to make their business work within our ordinances instead of us doing work sessions and going through all this? That seems like a lot of legwork for a private business.
Yeah. I agree that they could use an attorney. However, this came up because, again, I work for y'all. And our council members were faced with a dilemma. And that dilemma had to do with our ordinances, and we came back with a method in order to be able to get around that. And so again, my thing is not to fix it for that business. It would be for any businesses, and if we can't come up with a recommendation.
What's broken?
Well, we have an entity that has.
They want to put a bar near a church.
We have an entity that has been operational for years, and except for a fire, they would still be able to be operational. And I'm not saying that's ever going to change, but again, let me just have staff come back to you with the recommendation. Doesn't mean they can't go hire an attorney, but I want to be able to present to you, if it's a policy matter, those are decisions that the council should take into consideration, and that's all I'm asking.
The reason I ask is because there have been other establishments that have lost their ability to hold an alcohol license because of negligence of the management. Whether it was they just forgot, whether their business practices were bad, or whether they sold the property and forgot about it. And it's like, well, tough luck, Cole, you know? Tough luck. I mean, that's just how it is. You made a mistake. We shouldn't have to rewrite our ordinances to fix something.
We may end up there, but let me have staff do the work and come back to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The staff did the work.
Anything else?
And I just want to, again, point out to you, the renovations are coming. I can't promise you that these renovations will be done by the 15th, by the time we have our next council meeting, but hopefully the bathroom will be in place on the second floor. But they are coming, and Mayor, with that, I'll leave.
Okay. All right, thank you so much. We'll go down to public comments, and today we have Mr. Marshall Webster on the agenda.
Right, okay. Council members, friends, and neighbors. In June, at the urging of City Manager Charles Penny, you approved paying Connery and Associates, a private firm with whom Mr. Penny has dealt with previously here in his previous employment in North Carolina, $52,000 to do a quote, pay study, end quote, without taking bids from other firms for this contract. In other words, you approved paying a private firm $52,000 to tell you how much we should pay our city employees when you could have gotten this information for free from the Georgia Department of Community Affairs or the Georgia Municipal Association. Further, in 2019, the city paid Connery and Associates for a pay study, even though they were not the lowest bidder on the contract. Further still, in 2021, City Council approved awarding a $500,000 contract to Insight Planning and Development of Wilmington, North Carolina, to administer a housing renewal program that could have been administered just as well by an able project manager here in Statesboro City Government. To compound matters, Insight was not the lowest bidder on that contract. Georgia-based Habitat for Humanity placed a lower bid, but inexplicably was rejected. This past week, I had a long conversation with the investigative division of the Georgia Department of Audits and Accounts, which monitors waste and corruption in local governments. Further, I had an equally long conversation with the Georgia Public Policy Foundation. Both these entities seem just as mystified as I am about what's going on here, and they assured me they'll be looking into it. Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, council members, all members of city government, I suggest you acquaint yourself with the case of former Statesboro City Councilman Gary Lewis, who decided that he would use his influence on City Council to augment his income. In 2016, he was sentenced to 15 months in federal prison for soliciting a $2,500 bribe from a local business owner. At a time when you are raising our taxes and refusing to give adequate funding to our police department, this inept city government is spending hard-earned tax dollars wastefully, and it appears corruptly. I can promise you one thing. If anyone here in city government has done anything untoward, there are those of us who will not stop pushing until you're behind bars. Councilman Boyer, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for at least trying to get these people to go by the letter and spirit of the law instead of making it up as they go along. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you. All right, we'll move down to agenda item 15, consideration of a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3. Personnel.
Real estate.
Real estate, okay. Real estate, all right, in accordance with OCGA. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Mr. Mayor, sir. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How are you?
Oh, you have public comments too?
Please, sir.
Oh, cool, I'm sorry. Man, let me know something, I'm going on.
Apparently I didn't do it.
I thought you said no, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
apparently I didn't do it
If
the
anybody else
proper
has
way.
public comments, I'm sorry.
No worries, sir.
Yeah, go
My
on.
name is Yvonne Pryor. I'm the Executive Director of Inner City Night Shelter in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay.
And I've been speaking with some of the employees of Pineland, and we've been having discussions about your increase in homelessness here in Statesboro. There's a government grant under HOMARP, which is American Rescue Plan, that is available now that we can apply for, that would allow for acquisition of land, demolition of any, bad dilapidated buildings, and then construction. Inner City would like to come into Statesboro and do a non-congregant shelter in order to address homelessness here. I've been driving back and to from Savannah for the past 2 years and actually have noticed the increase of people that walk the streets early morning. If you want to see if homeless people are in your city, you have to do it early morning to see them walking. So I'd be interested. We've kind of started the process a little bit with some drawings with our architect Brian Felder out of Savannah. We have a team that we've put together to submit for that application, and I don't want to go too much farther without council knowing, the mayor and council knowing that that's what we would like to do. We've spotted a piece of property over at 31 East Olive Street. That's the old pecan warehouse there. So we think that would be a good place for a 2 to 3 story building there to do non-congregate. And what that is it's single room occupancy. It's not congregate. They would everybody would have their own space. And then Inner City's been around for 40 years. 25% of that 40, I've been the executive director. So we're well versed in how to get it done. So I just kind of wanted to say that and make sure that we don't have any opposition. We don't want to be in opposition to the council, of course. And at some point, we would come back to you for a letter stating that you're in agreement with us to do that. We have our first submission due on the 15th of this month, phase 1 submission, and then the second part would be on the 15th of next month. The first phase of it is the drawings and all of those things, the logistics that go along with the construction of a building. And the second part is a narrative, which will be done by me as the executive director. I'm also a grant writer. So I would like to come back. Statesboro is my home. I would like to come back and do that in Statesboro to address, because a lot of things are going to change with that new plant that's coming up on 16. A lot of things are going to change around here. So we kind of need to get ahead of it. And we would like to see Inner City expand.
Okay. All right, thank you. We appreciate it.
Mayor, if you I need to have, on your behalf, have a conversation, and I'll come back to you. And I appreciate that effort. However, we also have nonprofits that operate in our community, and so if y'all okay with me having that conversation, then I'll come back to you.
I have no problem with that, Council.
So, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Penny, I'm assuming if we're talking about ARPA funding, any kind of federal funding and grants, then the city would need to endorse the effort at some point. So yes, I think it's very wise for you to talk. I appreciate when there's a need, and it sounds like y'all might be good to do it, but the city needs to consult who can best meet the need for us. So yes, please have that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have a conversation about homelessness, we're gonna have to have a deeper conversation, because it's not just about finding places to put a roof over their head overnight. It's about teaching people skills that they've lost through drug abuse or physical abuse or emotional abuse. I mean, it takes a long time to get people back on their feet. And so, I mean, if we're gonna do something like that, it's a big, huge commitment. It's not just something small stuff. You're right, if we're gonna have that discussion. So,
All right, sounds good. All right, so let's go in for a point of clarification in regards to item 15. We're going in for consideration of motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel and real estate matters in accordance with OCGA 50-14-3B. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to support that motion, but I'd like to just make a comment, please. It's unpleasant to have a citizen come and confront us and particularly use offensive, judgmental language, inaptness, things like that. And as hard as that is to hear, we are all very much open to being challenged. I mean, the city of Statesboro wants to perform for all of its citizens, and we do our very best, as far as I can see, all of us and all of our staff, to operate within the guidelines we've set in a way that we're being good stewards of the money of the taxpayers and all the funds that we have to deal with. So as difficult as it is to hear accusations, we are open to that. We do need to be challenged. We want to operate honestly. We have practices about having to get quotes, and so it's hard to hear things like that, but citizens keep coming and saying it because nobody's above being questioned. We all have to adhere to the standards we've set or been set for us. So thank you for being here, sir. And invite anybody else who has a similar opinion.
But they do need to have the facts.
And also be respectful.
This is the business that we're in. And Statesboro has 33,400, about 38 citizens. And so we're not going to please every single citizen, but we invite every citizen to be able to come and share their point of views. But what I can say is that I've been here, Phil's been here longer than me, John's been here longer than me. We've been here 6 years. What I can say is that we knock on wood, we've been extremely transparent, sometimes at our own detriment. And so with that being said, let the people in God judge the work that we've done. And that's what I say. But, at the end of the day, any citizen that's got any concern, we want them to come and bring that forward. And we want them to feel that they can engage, and that they can compensate. And a lot of times, when information is not accurate, that's an opportunity to get that information in a space where they may be able to get more accurate information. So with that, let us do the best we can. And if we make any mistakes, we gotta have the courage to be able to address those mistakes that we're making. With that being said, we're gonna try this again. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.